Hello, and thank you for joining us for this encore presentation of one of Viking's most special journeys. Our friends at All Travel look forward to building the trip of your dreams, and at Viking, we look forward to welcoming you on board. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Traveling Virtually with Viking. We greatly appreciate the support of our travel advisors and their clients for taking the time to be with us today. Before we get started, I would like to remind you that our virtual chat and question and answer is open, so please feel free to type questions in as we go. We'll be answering them during and after the presentation. And today, I'd like to welcome Kim Lucy, Director of National Accounts for Viking Cruises in Canada. As a 30-year-plus veteran of the cruise industry and passionate traveler, she has explored the world extensively by river and ocean. Let's welcome Kim as we discover the Panama Canal. Kim?
Well, thank you everybody for joining me today, and a special thanks to our travel advisors who invited your guests to join us today to explore the world in comfort with biking and a little bit closer to home with our beautiful Panama Canal itineraries. This is an area that I absolutely love. I've done the Panama Canal myself 3 times, and every time I've done it, I've still gotten up at 6 a.m. to take those pictures as we're going through the first set of locks. It never gets old, and I'm sure some of you have done it, but I can only encourage you to come back and try it again. And the itinerary we're going to be talking about today is an interesting one because it doesn't go all the way through the Panama Canal. It actually does a partial canal transit, and then we spend time in the beautiful Caribbean. So I think many of us are looking forward to traveling again. I know I certainly am, and the Caribbean has always been one of my favorite places to relax. So let's get started today. I'm going to turn off my camera so that you can have the full screen, and then I'll come back and chat with you at the end of the presentation. And as Michael said, please type any questions that come up through this presentation in the question box, and we'll come back and answer them afterwards. But I wanted to start with just a quick overview of where Viking goes. We are going to be zeroing in on the Caribbean on the right-hand side of the screen. But we do travel the world, and we do that via world cruise, but also with our 7 beautiful ocean ships, plus our river ships, and you've got lots and lots of choice with us. We also have expedition to the poles, into the Great Lakes, and also Mississippi. But we've been doing this for a long time. We started in 1997. We've celebrated our 23rd anniversary on August 5th this year. And in 2015, we expanded into ocean. And you will see our beautiful state-of-the-art ships. They're 930 passengers. They're just under 50,000 tons, which is perfect for the Caribbean because it allows us to go into places that a lot of the big ships can't go. And what I love most about the experience with Viking is that we do have more time in port. We're doing less sea days, although we do like to throw those in so that you have a chance to relax and enjoy the beautiful facilities on the ship. But for the most part, it means that you get more time in port, and we also are focusing in on destination experiences, but we also have some good docking locations. And one of the things that makes us different is that ability to bring that incredible river cruise experience and transpose it onto these ocean ships. So what you'll find on our ships are not a focus on casinos because we don't have them. It's an adult experience. We don't have children under 18. No umbrella drinks, no photography sales or art auctions. We include the beer, wine, and soft drinks with meals. We include our alternate restaurants, the Wi-Fi, the laundrettes. You can go in and use all of the beautiful spa facilities with no additional charges. There are no inside staterooms, no lines. You've got that space per passenger, and this is something I think we're all looking for as we're going through this pandemic, is that we are going to be looking to ships that are smaller and have more space. So with Viking, we are, even in the Caribbean, looking at a destination-focused, culturally enriching, carefully curated experience for you. And we are going to introduce you to local cuisine. So you'll get a chance to try the casado from Costa Rica, maybe some of the empanadas that are famous from Panama, and of course the jerk chicken and red stripe beer that you find in Jamaica. So we are going to give you the chance to try those local cuisine in the ports that we visit, but we also will have our always available steak, Caesar salad, chicken, and salmon, and a changing menu every day. It's still focused on cultural enrichment, so we will have our lectures on board, our experts, destination performances. We'll be bringing on and also touring with our Viking Way, including local life experiences, working world, and privileged access. Local life, of course, will take you in to visit some of the local experiences, whether that's a host family or going to the market. We also have working world, which will teach you about some of the economy, and it might be visiting the rum factory. I'm going to share some of these with you as we go. So stay with me and I'll dig a little deeper into the itinerary. Now, our ships, as I mentioned, are small. They started in 2015, and since 2016, after the first year of operation through 2020, we have been named the top small ship cruise line for with Travel and Leisure, with Berlitz, with Cruise Critic, and highly recognized. So this is a continuing effort to provide you with a beautiful experience. And you can see on board open space, beautiful, calm decor, Scandinavian influence, beautiful art, and little surprises throughout the ship that you'll enjoy as you go. And then, of course, we have a nice selection of staterooms with all verandas, king size beds, and beautiful, beautiful amenities. So you can check with your travel advisor and they'll go through with more detail. We also have a virtual tour if you want to do that on your own. Now, let's talk today about Panama Canal in Central America. We're going to zero in on one itinerary as opposed to but I'm going to talk about the Panama Canal as well, because we do have a number of itineraries that do explore this way. This is a 15-day cruise, 7 guided tours in 7 countries. Now, a lot of Caribbean cruises are only 7 days, and I come from the West Coast. I know how long it takes me to fly to Miami. It's a good 13-hour trip with stops along the way. And so being able to get on that ship and relax for 15 days, I think is a big advantage. And I think a lot of people also enjoy that. I always find that if I do a 7-day cruise, I'm already starting to stress about getting off by the time I get to day 4, because I know there's only 3 days left in my vacation. So 15 days gives you that opportunity to relax. Here you can see where we're going to be traveling. We're going to be doing kind of a circle of the Caribbean, going into the Western Caribbean, into Costa Rica, into as far as Gatun Lake, and doing a turnaround to come back through the canal. So not the full canal, but it gives you a great taste of it, into Cartagena, Colombia, and also into Montego Bay. So here we have our itinerary. We're going to be traveling Miami. We've got a few days at sea, so you can relax. Cozumel, Belize City, Roatan, Puerto Limon in Costa Rica, Colón in Panama, and then into Montego Bay. So let's get started in beautiful Miami. We do have extensions here, so if you want to go and spend a couple of extra days, you certainly can. Here we're looking at Miami Beach with all the lovely little restaurants to explore. And of course, the beach is beautiful and you can't go wrong with the Caribbean. I always enjoy Miami. It's got a great culture. It's got a lot of flavor, Cuban flavor, great food. And of course, you've got South Beach, where if you want to just hang with the beautiful people, you can do that as well. We're going to sail from there to Key West. And Key West is one of those funky places. It is the farthest south you can go in the United States. And it has a really carefree culture. I'm sure many of you have been, but one of my favorite things to do, and we often don't sail till later, is to go down. Everybody in the town seems to wander down to the breakwater and watch the sunset, and you look for the green flash. It's a great place for a cocktail, so if we're still there, or you can certainly sit on the ship and enjoy that as well. But Key West has a carefree culture. It's, as I mentioned, the southernmost city. You can take a picture at basically mile 0, but it's a blend of Caribbean, Latin, and American culture. You're going to see the old Bahamian style homes as we do a walking tour. And actually we do kind of a hop on, hop off tour. So you'll be able to, it's a series of little trains that run around Key West that you can take a look at. So you'll see Truman Avenue, Duval Street. You'll see Ernest Hemingway's house, which is now a museum. You'll see the lighthouse, which is the famous southernmost point, and a variety of wonderful art galleries. And we do have a couple of tours here. So our included tour is an open air tour of Key West. But if you're interested in literature, this is where Ernest Hemingway lived from 1931 to 1939. And his home, which was one of the first to have indoor plumbing and a swimming pool, is a museum now. And this is where he wrote The Snows of Kilimanjaro and also To Have and To Have Not. So if you've read those, you will enjoy going to see his writing desk, his gardens, and of course you might even run into his polydactyl cats that are still there. They have 6 toes, some of them, so you can check that out. They were given to him as a when he made an acquaintance with a sea captain who owned an unusual 6-footed or 6-toed tomcat. And Ernest liked it so much that when the captain left, he left the cat with Ernest Hemingway. And since then, these cats have propagated and they've been able to enjoy it. Now, also here in Key West is a wonderful barrier reef. It's noted as one of the top 5 barrier reefs in the world for snorkeling and exploration. So we do have a tour if you want to get into the water and do a little bit of snorkeling, and that's obviously one of the things that the Caribbean is well known for. Also bicycle tour here as we go. From here, we're going to go on to Cozumel after a wonderful day of relaxation. Sailing through the Gulf of Mexico. You can enjoy some of the attributes of the ship or just relax on deck. And that's another thing with the smaller ship, 930 passengers, there's room for everybody to sit. You don't have to race down early in the morning to grab a chair. You can just relax. Also here, we visit Cozumel. Now, many people have probably been to Cozumel on a Caribbean cruise, and you know it's very touristy now. When I first started going to Cozumel, it was a small, quaint little place. And it is still, if you get off the main streets into the back streets, you'll find wonderful local restaurants to explore. But Cozumel is known, of course, for some of these Mayan ruins. It's located off the edge of the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's got lots of colorful streets. There's great art, and of course, you've got Carlos and Charlie's and all of those. If you want to have some fun and drink some margaritas, there's lots to see and do. But our included tour takes you out to the ruins of San Gervasio, which is the ruins of a pre-Columbian Mayan religious site. And we'll get a chance to visit here. The site is dedicated to Ixchel, who's the goddess of the moon and fertility. And many of the Mayan women used to make pilgrimages here and make offerings to the goddess to have children. So it's an expansive, complex stone structures. Many of them missing their roofs now; they're starting to crumble. But it's fascinating to learn about the Mayan culture and how far that it dates back. It was one of the most predominant and certainly powerful civilizations in the Caribbean during its time. Now here also in Cozumel, we can go and, I'm gonna go back. You've got a taste of Mexico, so you can try one of the local life experiences and go and visit and learn how tequila is made. Right through the colonial period, right up to present day, it's been produced for almost, hundreds and hundreds of years. There's over 100 distilleries, and they make 900 brands of tequila in Mexico. So here you'll get a chance to learn a little bit about it. There's also some deep sea fishing if you're interested. And one of the things that I found fun is another local life experience called Salsa and Salsa. And here you can take part in a hands-on cooking and dancing experience, which is second to none. There are 2 dancing chefs who will teach you how to make fresh salsas. And you can enjoy an authentic margarita and a frozen strawberry version if you like. But once you've finished mastering your cooking skills, your dancing chef will teach you some of the steps for salsa. So you can do salsa and salsa. That sounds like a fun change from the usual Carlos and Charlie's to me, or just margaritas and chips. It's nice to see a little bit more of the local culture. From here, we're going to go on to Belize. And Belize is, again, a center of the Mayan culture, dating back to 900 BC. And this is the Mayan ruins of Altunja. This is one of Central America's most ancient temples, where there's 5 square miles of Mayan history, just tucked away in the jungle. And actually, they weren't even discovered till 1963. Similar to the the temples that you'll find in Siem Reap in Cambodia, they were overgrown by the jungle, and they really, I mean, I think the locals knew they were there, but they were really not discovered and uncovered until the 1960s. You'll see the Temple of Masonry altars, which is 54 feet tall. It means stone, rock stone water. And in the Mayan language, Haltun means stone cistern, and Ha means water. So that's why it's called Haltun Ha. So you'll get a chance to visit a little bit of this. If you want to, you can also go and visit the Nohak Chen National Park. And this is a really cool place because it's a series of caves. And you travel through these series of caves about 4.5 miles long on inflatable inner tubes. So really fun. I've done something very similar, and it is breathtaking, and it's just a really fun thing to do. Or you can just go and find a beautiful beach. The Mayan Reef is famous for snorkeling and scuba diving, and it's a place that has been attracting people for many, many years. From there, we go on to Roatan, and Roatan is a small area in the Honduras. It is, when I first started going to Roatan, it was before any ships came, and it really was a mecca for snorkelers and scuba divers, and it was really untouched. I remember in those days I worked for Norwegian Cruise Line, and we were the first cruise line to call in Roatan and actually develop the port. And I was in on one of the very first cruises that sailed out of Houston, or Galveston, or Houston actually. And I remember going in and walking off the ship and walking down this sort of concrete pier and along the main street, which was dirt. And the locals had set up their little shops in their garages, and they were selling stuff like chiclets and and some handicrafts and cigarettes just out of their backyards. And it was so fun. And when we went to the beaches, they were completely untouched. Now that's changed a little bit. It's much more touristy. They've actually built port facilities and all of that, but it hasn't changed how beautiful this island is, or this area on the mainland in Roatan is. It really is the beauty, spectacular Bay Islands off the coast of Honduras. It really is a snorkeler's paradise with the Belizean Reef. Coral reefs that skirt the islands, they boast some of the highest diversity of coral in the Caribbean. And you'll also get a chance to see the Carambola botanical gardens. There's 40 acres of impeccably maintained trails. I've done it, and it is gorgeous. So here you'll get a chance to see some of these incredible species. There's the hummingbirds, orchids, fruit trees, spice and medicinal plants, and of course the famous Honduran mahogany tree. So you'll get a chance here. You can do a number of things. You can go to Tabiana Beach, which is a pristine white beach with snorkeling. You can see the reefs just off the way. You can do some snorkeling and kayaking, which is something I've done, which I loved. Again, you get away from the crowds and you can really go and enjoy this. So we'll go out in a clear bottom kayak. You'll get a chance to be able to, kind of like the glass bottom boat, see some of the beautiful marine life. Now, as you know, the Caribbean is so impeccably clear. You look down and you can see the colors. You can also do some trekking as well through the park. So these are things you can do in Roatan, which I love. And then we have some time at sea, and here you can see our beautiful living room, or part of the living room on the second level. We've got games, and just it's a really lovely way to interact and engage with other passengers and to really enjoy the ship as we sail through this beautiful area. From here, we get to San Jose in Costa Rica. And we're calling on the eastern side. Costa Rica actually goes right across. It has coastlines on both on the Mediterranean side as well as on the Pacific coast. This is where I spent my honeymoon many, many, many years ago, out of near Manuel Antonio Park on the western side. But it is a breathtakingly beautiful country. And interestingly enough, they have a 96.5% literacy rate, and they have a social medicine system that is similar to Canada. And so everybody in the country gets an education and is looked after medically. So it's a very organized and pristinely beautiful and clean country. I was really, it really was remarkable. They're known for the woods, for wood carving. So look for those if you're looking for things to bring back. I brought back great salad bowls and platters. I also, it's known for coffee as well. The coffee is spectacular, Costa Rican coffee, and it was really inexpensive. I came back with like 10 pounds of it in my suitcase. And just threw it in my freezer. It was fantastic for gifts and just to enjoy. So here in Costa Rica, it has about 5% of the world's species of flora and fauna. It is a tiny country and it's lush with rainforests. So you'll get a chance here to go and do a little bit of exploration. You can certainly enjoy some of the beaches, but you'll get a chance to go through the Tortuguera canals. And this is a lush network of natural waterways and man-made canals through this unique coastal environment. It stretches 14 miles along the shore and was created to preserve the nesting sites of the green turtle. So you'll get to see some of these passageways. They're connecting lagoons and deltas and even small villages. So you'll be passing through many ecozones supported by a diverse array of wildlife, from the manatees to the howler monkeys, and some of these incredible birds like the toucans and the jacamars, as well as into the jungle with the white-faced monkeys. So you've got some fun here. The other thing we do here, there is a wonderful, you can go up into the rainforest by boat or by train, or you can do a nature walk with the aerial tram, which is really cool. In addition to that, we also have a Costa Rican hacienda local life experience where you get to go to a local hacienda and that's rooted in the heritage and the culture of Costa Rica. It's owned by the Ortuno family and it's nestled in the mountains. And here they share, they're growing coffee and producing sugarcane. So you'll get a chance to learn about that production and do a tasting session and get a chance to chat with the locals and learn a little bit more about Costa Rican culture. From here, we're going to start to move through into Panama. And Panama is, oh, actually, I was just going to go back because there's one other thing in Costa Rica that I wanted to share with you because I love to cook. If you've been on my some of my presentations, you know that I enjoy cooking and eating and all of that. But there is a cacao museum in Puerto Limon as well, which you might enjoy. And the chocolate production goes back 100 years. So you'll get a chance to see some of the older parts of Limon. And then you'll get to go to the chocolate museum and see some of the original machines that have been preserved and see how the ancient traditions and methods and cultivation of cacao and cocos, of course, have evolved. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you might enjoy that as well. But as we go, we're going to stop in Colón, which is the entrance to the Panama Canal. It's the gateway to the Caribbean side of the Panama Canal. And it introduces you to the native traditions of the ancient people. You'll get a chance to see centuries-old tribal life firsthand during a visit to the Chagra National Park and the Imbara villages. So here, people still live in thatched huts, and they travel by dugout canoe, and they keep the craft of basket weaving alive. So one of the things that we'll do is take you from Colón up to Panama City. And you can do this in a couple of different ways. They're included towards a 90-minute coach ride from Colón that brings you across the isthmus to because remember, Panama is really just, it's the skinniest part of Central and South America. It connects Central and South America together. And that's where they built the canal because it was the smallest piece. And I'm going to tell you a bit more about the canal in a minute. But it's a 90-minute ride up to Colón. And Panama City actually is very modern. It's got glass skyscrapers, very reminiscent of Miami. It's often likened to Singapore and Dubai for its aspirations to become an economic powerhouse. So you'll get to see the Old Town, which is a World UNESCO Heritage Site, and get a chance to walk through the cobblestone streets and then see some of the beautiful pastel-colored colonial buildings as we go. Now, there's also an optional tour to visit the Imbara Indian Village. And these are the keepers of the Panamanian rainforest. And they share vivid culture, and you'll be able. They're part of one of the 7 indigenous Panamanian groups, and their origin is a mystery. They've been living much the same as they did in pre-Columbian times. So you'll take a coach to Gatun Lake, and then onward by boat on the lake to the Ambara village. So you get a chance to see some of the ceremonial dancing, to learn about the beadwork and the basket weaving, and enjoy a typical lunch of fish and plantains. So that's one of the things you can do if you're interested in a bit more of the local life experience and culture. We also have, if you want to go into Panama via the Panamanian Canal railways, you can do that. It connects the 2 oceans together. So just some ideas. Here's the rainforest. It's beautiful, and of course it's in dispute and people are worried about it. And then onto the Panama Canal. And as I said, I've been through this canal 3 times. I still get a kick out of it. I still get up at 6 in the morning. I still get my camera out and I still go through it. It's still a thrill. It's quite amazing. So the Panama Canal was known as the pathway between the seas. And you transverse the famed canal system. It opened in 1914, but it was started actually by France in 1881. But it was stopped because of engineering problems. Trying to blast the rock through here was incredibly difficult. It was infested with malaria mosquitoes, and it was tropical, incredibly hot, and high humidity. So they stopped because of the engineering problems and the high mortality rate of the workers. In 1904, the Americans took over and completed the task and opened the canal in August of 1914. It's one of the largest and most difficult engineering projects ever undertaken, and it was, but it created this shortcut that greatly reduced the time for ships to travel between the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, because they used to have to go around the Cape of Horn, the Cape Horn in South America, and having been through there, that water can be incredibly unsafe and very, very rough, and on many ships have been lost there, and then back all the way up the coast of South America. So it really did make a big difference in taking it out. So there are actually 51 miles. There were 3 locks up and 3 locks down, and then you transit through Gatun Lake, which is a man-made lake. Right now, when they originally opened, it was 1,000 ships that went through in 1914. In 2008, there were 14,000, and by 2012, there were 800. So we're probably close to 1 million ships going through now, and per year, and it takes about 11 and a half hours to transit. It's a very nice leisurely thing, and I think people will really enjoy. Here you can see the locks. The boats, the ships are on a tow rope on what they call mules. They're little trains that run along those tracks and kind of guide the ships through these series of locks. So we'll go through the first set of 3, and then we'll turn around and go back through them, but we'll do a turnaround in Gatun Lake. So it's a full day, and it's really fantastic. From there, we have a couple more days just cruising the beautiful Caribbean Sea. You can enjoy the spa, you can take a cooking class in the chef's table, and then onward to Montego Bay. Now, Montego Bay is one of the main cities in Jamaica. And of course, you've got that beautiful sunset. Columbus landed here in 1492, or 1494 actually, and it was declared part of the Spanish Empire. But the British later took over and paved the way for one of the island's most pivotal moments, which was the uprising of the slaves led by Samuel Sharp, who became the country's national hero. You get a glimpse into the past at Rose Hall Great House, which is a gorgeous Georgian manor, which the owner had over almost 300 slaves. And it's got a little bit of an interesting history. It was built in the 1770s by a British planter, and it became a plantation with hundreds of slaves. There were a series of murders and strange occurrences in the 19th century, which made Rose Hall part of local folklore. The home's most famous resident, Annie Palmer, is said to haunt the house. According to legend, Palmer killed her husband and several slaves that she had taken as lovers, and locals refer to her as the White Witch of Rose Hall and believe her ghost can sometimes be seen in the upper quarters. So you'll get a chance to go through. This is one of our included tours. So we'll get a chance to visit uh, the home and to learn a little bit about the Christmas Rebellion, which was when the slaves ransacked the house and stood up against the British and slavery. It was left in decay until 1966 when the preservationists came in and started to restore. So you'll see some of the beautiful silk walls that are festooned with wall coverings similar to Marie Antoinette. And all the furniture and stuff. It's really quite gorgeous. You can also go rum tasting here and check out the Appleton rum factory at the estate of Good Hope. And it tracks back to 1774, and it was established by John Tharp. And it was incredibly successful during its heyday, but upon his death, it fell into disarray. So it became part of Chris Blackwell's Island Training Group, and the property has been now restored to its 18th century glory. It's beautiful. I've been there, and it really is a beautiful space. But you can learn all about the traditional sugarcane plantation and the fabrication of rum. You can do some tasting, or if you like, you can also just do a high tea at Good Hope Estate as well, and do a traditional British high tea. Now, traditionally in Jamaica, people do the Dunn's River Falls climb, which I've done many times. It's always fun, but it's getting more and more crowded and touristy. You can also go rafting down the Martha Bray River, which I've also done, which is a really fun leisurely day. You can go and pick up some of the coffee, or just go and enjoy some jerk chicken and some red stripe beer and enjoy and relax. So from there, we're one more day at sea to enjoy the ship and the beautiful scenery. Here's our World Cafe, where you can dine outside or just relax and enjoy the view from your infinity pool, where you can feel like you're actually swimming in your destination. I love this pool. It really is gorgeous, and I think that's one of the best pictures I've ever seen taken. And then back to Miami, where you can spend some extra time. We have a 2-night pre or post, or you can go up to Fort Lauderdale to enjoy an extra night. If you've not been up there, it's equally beautiful, a little bit smaller. You've got the famous Golden Mile for shopping if you'd like, but I've always loved the flavor of Miami. It's been a place that I've always enjoyed, and there's lots to see and do if you want the time. In addition to that, we do have a couple of other itineraries. This is the classic Panama Canal passage, 11 days. It goes from Fort Lauderdale to Panama City, so it goes back and forth. And you're going to see some of the same places that we've spoken about today on the way through, but we don't do the circle, so you'll miss Montego Bay. I also wanted to recommend to you, if you want to learn more about this, and there is some great history talks with our resident historian on Tuesdays. We've got arts and music. We've got guest speakers. If you're a Downton Abbey fan, you might enjoy some of the interviews that have been done with the Countess of Highclere Castle. But it's a fantastic platform for just enjoyment, learning. I've spent time on there, and I was looking at it this morning, and there's a couple things I'm going to go back and have a look at tonight instead of Netflix, which I think I'm going to enjoy even more. So check it out. I wanted to leave you with a recipe. As you know, I like to cook, and this is one of my favorite things to have when I'm down in the Caribbean. It's the coconut shrimp, and this is an easy one for you to make at home. I know for those of us in the north, we're getting past the summer months, but for those of you in the southern part of the United States, there's probably still a great time for coconut shrimp. So you can find this recipe on our Viking Cruises website or on our Viking TV website under the kitchen table. And then I wanted to leave you with a couple of books, because it's always, if you like to read like I do, to be prepared for the trip, you might enjoy some of these books. The Sugar Barons is, it's kind of the story of the West Indies and the development of the West Indies. It really shares the turbulent and shocking history. Going back some 200 years after 1650, the West Indies were the strategic center of the Western world's greatest power struggle as Europeans made and lost immense fortunes growing and trading in sugar as a commodity so lucrative that at the time it was called white gold. So this one chronicles the wealth of the island colonies and how they became the focus of the English commercial imperial greatness, underpinning the British economy and fueling the Industrial Revolution. And of course, slavery played an important role in this. So if you're interested, it's a great read. Also, Panama Fever. This is the story of building of the Panama Canal and the beginning of the American century. So it draws on contemporary accounts. It brings the experience of those who built the canal vividly to life. It talks about the politics, the high stakes diplomacy that went on, and it's filled with great characters and stories about this small, fiercely contested strip of land that made the world a smaller place. So really fun to read if you like. Now, if you're looking for a movie, The Tailor of Panama by John le Carre is one of my favorites. It's about a British spy who has an affair with an ambassador's wife and is sent to Panama to uncover the president's plans for the Panama Canal. So it's a great story with Pierce Brosnan and Jeffrey Rush. You can't go wrong with those two guys, and I think you'll enjoy it. And then The Blue Butterfly is based on a true story, and it's about a 10-year-old boy diagnosed with a terminal illness, and his mother finds a renowned entomologist who to take them on an adventure through the jungle, the Costa Rican jungle, to fulfill the boy's dream, which was to catch the elusive blue morpho butterfly. So it's a true story and a wonderful story that I think people will enjoy with William Hurt in the lead. So it is going back to 2004. These other ones go back to 2001, but I think you can probably still find them on some of the channels, Netflix or Crave or some of those. So anyway, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining me today. As you can tell, I love the Caribbean. I love the Panama Canal. And I hope that if you're looking for a place to start your travel journeys, that this will be a good place to start. Please check with your travel advisor for more details. And I'm just coming back, Michael, I promise, for details, availability, and pricing. So I think we usually have a few questions. If you got them, let me know. But I hope you will come and join us and test the waters of travel in the Caribbean and the Panama Canal.
Great. So our first question, Kim, is when does this itinerary typically sail?
These obviously are going to run in the winter, through the winter months. So the late fall, November, December, I think we have, and the thing with us is you've got to check with your travel advisor because some of these are one-off or they don't run the whole season. The one or two itineraries that we do through the whole season are the West Indies Explorer, which leaves from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and does an 11-day rotation. But with our other ship that's there, they do a variety of itineraries that go into South America, Central America, the Panama Canal. So check with your travel advisor because these are running in November, December. I think there's some in February. The transit that goes between, I think it's Miami and Panama City, runs during that time frame as well. So yeah, just check in with us and we'll let you know what the best options are.
And our next question is how much of the canal do we actually sail in this particular itinerary?
We sail about 50% is the way it works. There are 6 locks. So we come through the first set of locks for the Caribbean, and in between those locks, you go through the Gaillard Cut, which is this very narrow piece that they blew up and really caused the biggest challenge for when they were building it. And then you get into Gatun Lake, which was where it was flooded because of the lock system. So we actually go through the first 3 sets of locks. We do a sail into Gatun Lake. We do kind of a turnaround, and then we go back through those sets of locks again. So you'll see them from two sides. But it takes about the same amount of time as it would if you went all the way through. But it's just nicer to come back into the Caribbean if it's not a transit. So yeah, you get a 50%.
Perfect. And what was the name of the other itinerary if you were interested in doing the entire span of the canal?
Let me just run back.
Okay.
Here it is here. Classic Panama Canal Passage. We also have one through the Christmas season as well. So there's one that runs, I think, over Christmas and New Year's. That's just designed uh, to go again, similar to this one.
Perfect. Well, I think that's it for questions. So thank you so much for your presentation, Kim. And I just want to thank all of our travel advisors and their clients for joining us. If you have any questions on any of Viking's Panama Canal itineraries, please reach out to your favorite travel advisor. Again, we do these traveling virtually with Viking events every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern, and 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in learning more about Viking, please reach out to your advisor. Thanks so much for joining Traveling Virtually with Viking, and we'll see you next time.
Here.